Welcome to another episode of Industrial Amputation. We have with us today an artist who is involved with music and film production, in addition to being an international touring artist. For the legendary electronic fetish act Lords of Acid, 80s act Pretty Boy Floyd, The Banishment, and Dwell, to name a few. He has an endorsement deal with Schecter Guitars. Shout out to Michael Ceravello, and a lot of other cool stuff
Yeah.
going on. Please help us give a warm welcome to Mr. DieTrich Thrall. DieTrich, thank you for being here.
Hey
Thank
guys,
you,
thanks for
man.
having me on. It's great to be here. It's good to
Welcome.
good to finally connect.
And just so the audience knows, we're having a little trouble with video for Dietrich, but we've got a nice shot of his mug here, so we should be just fine.
So,
Awesome.
before we get into specific projects, your bio boasts 2,500 plus songs repertoire, added by an extraordinary ability to learn mass amounts of material at a ravenous space. What put you on this path to learn to do that?
Well, so I think that's part of what you would call. I feel like that's probably. And by the way, thanks for having me on, guys. Good to be here.
Absolutely.
So that's what I feel like that's the gift. I have a very good memory recall when it comes to tones, and I have the ability to pick out tones very, very, very rapidly, and it's helped me to learn a bunch of songs. So when you're talking about 2,500 songs, that specifically means that if you give me, generally, if I've heard the song in my life, and you give me a song and you give me the first chord, I can generally follow along on almost anything and
Wow.
dive in. Obviously, there are bands and certain areas of music that I know much more in depth. And
Yeah.
you're talking more, precise, kind of, from learning from the albums and stuff like that. And other ones were
Mhm.
just jamming, and it works out because I know I've got good. At this point, I've played so many songs and worked on so many different styles and stuff. It's very good tonal instinct and
Yeah.
fretboard theory and stuff like that. I know where I'm going. So when we're talking 2,500 songs, that's not an exaggeration. You could probably name off. There's so many.
Yeah.
That's just a rough estimate that I came up with, but there's a
Yeah.
lot. I
It's
can
impressive as hell, man. It
yeah.
really is.
It's really
My
helped with diving into these different the different bands I've been working with, because a lot of the times, there's a lot of it's very, very short notice. In
Yeah.
some cases, I tell everybody it's usually, we get I get one rehearsal,
Mhm.
sometimes two, and sometimes none,
Yeah.
and we just got to go with it, and that's how that works. And that's what that largely is talking about, the ability to learn these songs very quickly and very rapidly. And
Yeah, no, that's a true gift. My first guitarist with my first band back in the '80s with Adrenochrome had that. He taught himself how to play, and I one of our friends was over one time, and Brant's up in his room noodling away doing his thing, and our friend was like, "Was he shoving the neck of the guitar up his ass to get that sound? What the hell is
yeah,
going on up there?"
right.
And but he listened something one time, and boom, he was done. It was gone, and it's absolutely fascinating for somebody that has that talent. It is
It's
absolutely incredible.
I've kind of given it a lot of thought over the years as to what how this particular. I think it's some kind of chaos math that the brain is able to decipher. And because when
Yeah.
I hear something, somebody plays something for me. Oh, and the example that I use a lot of times is the game Simon Says. If you
Okay.
are playing Simon Says, it's about tones and colors, and when you keep the tones. I played this game at a bar with somebody, in my 20s, and they go, man, because I was racking up a bunch of tones in a row. I could remember a lot in a row, and
Yeah.
that was the whole game. In fact, what
Wow.
I do recommend for people who want to get their child into music, Simon Says is an excellent music learning tool
Okay.
to get to see. To build that ability to remember tones, and that's a great start right there. If they can
Wow.
do that, that is 90% of the battle. The rest of it is just
Holy
figuring out
shit.
some fretboard stuff and practicing a little bit. It's very
Yeah.
simple.
Wow. And you're a multi instrumentalist as well as a producer and vocalist, right? Yeah.
Correct.
And
Correct.
what all do you play?
So largely, if you give me an instrument, I could probably make,
That's
I could
badass.
come up with stuff right there, just futzing around.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm more proficient on. I When I tour, I play bass. It's really just it's the easiest thing in the world to play rock bass. As
Yeah.
far as guitar. I play guitar. I don't do a lot of live drums, but I could sit there and probably jam an AC/DC basic drum, uh, some drums, and then like keyboards and stuff. I usually program stuff, but I got pretty good instincts on what's going on there. So
Right on, man. Yeah, the drums is where I have absolutely no fucking coordination. I can program them okay, but you get me behind a kit and it's like, whoa, no, pull him out of there.
sure, yeah.
We
Um, go ahead, Joey.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we know you were in a band called Beauty and the Suffering. Please tell us about that.
Excuse me. Um, Beauty and the Suffering. Excuse me. Excuse me. Beauty and the Suffering is my own personal project where I produced everything, wrote everything, performed everything in the studio, and then this was back probably in 2012, 2013, and then I did an initial batch of videos, and we did a zombie horror trilogy for the three initial songs on the EP. So that was what was supposed to be like music that would have been intended for my previous underground band in Chicago called Marazine. And when that kind of seemed to be hitting a lot of roadblocks, I took some of the material, and then I just I used Reveille would have definitely been a Marazine song if a Marazine had stuck together. But and then I have a lot more material. It's just been a matter of time and finances trying to figure out how to make everything work. And that's kind of where we're at right now. There's definitely a lot more material to be released, and I'm hoping I'm able to manage that in the next few years.
That'd be awesome, man. I didn't now you said on most of that stuff you're playing all the instrumentation and
I am playing all the instrumentation, but I program the drums. But when it comes to the live drums, I brought in a couple of professionals. I brought in Chris Emery of American Head Charge. I had Angel Bartolotta from Dope. He came in and did drums on the initial video single, The Crazies. Yeah, so
two outstanding tracks, by the way. Holy
thank
shit!
You.
And Reveille really that got my butt moving a little bit. So
thank you so much. Yeah. We had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the drums in that one are just absolutely top fucking notch. So
thank you.
I think that was Chris Emery on that one. Yeah.
Chris Emery, I think he did everything else except for that for the Crazies, and he ended up. We actually did. The initial release was 3 songs, and then I went in and did a cover song for the Outfield for Your Love, and we added that to the EP. But I think Chris and I did another 11 songs in the studio, and they're all the tracks. I have all the everything ready to on this end. Like I said, we're just trying to find a way to make it work financially and stuff like that.
Well, with your fucking workload, dude, I don't see that being far away.
I hope not. It's I'd love to get more material out there. Yeah,
you're absolutely fucking voracious. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
So some time has passed since you've released any new music with with that project, though. Can we expect? I mean,
here's the magic of of dreams and trying to make stuff happen. Yeah. I really was aiming to release the third song music video this fall, but for a couple of different reasons, it again did not work out. So I'm hoping maybe next year. Okay. It's just I just want to make sure everything is right. I want to make sure that it people are at least able to have access to it and hear it. Yeah. I'm trying not to just post music without any real direction with it. I'd like to, and in the meantime, I think the other thing is I want to have a couple other things in preparation so that we're able to move forward. Should the everybody the video be well received. So this would be the music video for Juliet, which would be the part 3 of the zombie trilogy. Okay. I think we released the first one in 2013. We released the second one. I want to say it was in 2018, and so now we're on 25, and I'm like, the third video, it's like 3 videos. It's because we're just trying to do things right, and as an artist, you're really, I'm definitely, I can get caught up in the perfection syndrome and stuff like that. You want to make sure everything's right, and it's It's very, very, it can get really, it can mess with your head a little bit, but I'm
Oh,
doing
for
the best
sure.
I can, as performing everything. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you're doing everything on your own, usually it means you're financing everything on your own. There's not a team
Mhm.
there, so
Yeah.
when you're working with a team in the studio with a batch of guys that are all coming together, sometimes, there's an advantage there because there's four guys, coming together to make things work. Whereas
Yeah.
this one is it's just me coming together and doing everything.
Yeah.
So, there's that to keep in mind too.
Did you ever do any live stuff with this project?
I did actually. In 2014, we went out for 2 weeks and we played about 8 shows. We played. We went up to Chicago. We played Detroit. We did St. Louis. We played Oklahoma City. That whole 35 stretch
Wow.
up to that whole stretch right there. That whole everything in between. I think it was about 8 shows. I want to say
Yeah.
Indianapolis was another one. So we did do a batch of shows. It was a lot of fun, and as again, we're covering everything on my own. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
So, getting this project back off the ground and taking it somewhere, do you anticipate doing some more live shows for this one?
I really hope so. And right before the pandemic, there was some heavy talks about going out with a bigger band. I had it
Yeah.
this close to going out there and doing a live. I was so excited.
Oh man. Yeah,
I
it kicked a
was
bunch of
really,
us in
really
the ass,
excited.
man.
We were so close to getting it done, so close.
Yeah.
And that would have been, I think we were, that would have been great. And then, of course, we didn't see the pandemic coming around the corner like, 8, 10 months later. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I think we would have built up some momentum and then probably lost it all. Yeah.
No, being as voracious of a live performer as you are, because you tour with a number of bands, uh, have you kind of absorbed some stuff from the other bands that you've toured with that you might be pulling into this?
Absolutely. Are you talking about like creatively?
Yeah,
Yeah, of
absolutely.
course. Absolutely. And I know
I mean,
like,
it.
I know one, I'm constantly taking notes. I think that the whole thing about being the smartest person in the room is not really that's not helpful. You want to
Yeah,
surround yourself with people who have more experience that you can learn from, and that
for sure.
that's absolutely something that I feel like I. So while I haven't been doing as much of my own personal, I mean, I'm always doing stuff on my own behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but I've definitely been taking a ton of notes, definitely been keeping an eye on everything and just as best as I'm able to,
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah,
I know Joey's got a question coming up here. Um,
sure.
just a second. See if we can get my voice on there so that the audience can see. We've got
Hey,
Lords of Acid. Um, this is from the 2017 Voodoo U tour.
okay, and so
Joey?
that's actually the very first tour that I did with Lords of Acid, and I recognize that shirt because I think there was a corresponding hoodie that I
Yeah,
had from
there
that tour.
was. There absolutely was. Yes. And one of my friends, you guys played at the Showbox in Seattle.
That was
And
a huge show. That was
it
huge.
was fucking epic,
It
man.
was
And
the it was the
yeah,
biggest show of that tour, I believe.
yeah, one of my friends still has the one of the blow up dolls.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was fucking insane. That was a great night, man. Thank you very much for that.
that was a
Well,
lot of fun. I definitely remember that. That was we walked out there, and that was the biggest show of the tour so far. And then I believe if my memory serves me correct, I think another big one would have been Denver. That was another big one, but
yeah.
Seattle and Denver really stood out on that tour.
You've got a lot of love from Seattle for Lords of Acid. I mean, they're kind of our de facto mascots out here, I think, sometimes.
Very
So
nice.
yeah,
I
it's
think
awesome.
we made it back to the Showbox last year.
Yeah, you did. I
Yeah,
wasn't able to make that one, and I was really, really pissed off. But you know,
yeah, yeah.
there's just sometimes there's just too many shows, and I never thought I would ever be able to have those words come out of my mouth. So
Sure.
Yeah, I actually met you at the last time you played Austin with Jenna Tortures at the VIP, and you was real
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
So,
do you know my friend Amber?
I'm not sure, but I was just going to comment on the Jenna Tortures. I just ran into them in the UK while we were on
Yeah.
the Pretty Boy Floyd tour.
Oh, fucking right on, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just.
Amber worked with them too. She was one of the dancers. Amber Prince did some stuff with Jenna Torturers back in the day too.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. She was actually Alexi Vox from Go Like Hell.
Okay,
The
I'm not
band Go Like
familiar,
Hell.
but I know that yeah, there's a good team over there too, and
Hmm.
yep, it was great to see them in the UK. Hadn't seen them since I think no, I've seen them since the tour. I think, but it's been I think it was the last time I saw them would have been pre pandemic.
Yeah,
Right on.
great
Yeah.
fucking show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you end up playing with Lords of Acid?
Yeah.
So let me think here. So earlier that year, I had done a tour with a band called Mad Life, and
Okay.
they were friends with that's kind of where I mean, I obviously since I went out with Doyle in 2015 and 2017, there was other tours and some smaller independent tours.
Yeah.
2017, I went to Europe with Mad Life, and uh, what is I'm trying to think of. The Schecter representatives and stuff like
Oh,
that.
Michael.
Andrew, I think we kept in contact, and I know that he mentioned that there was a band looking for somebody. So I we had used Schecter and stuff since Doyle, and then also on the Mad Life tour, and so we were in
Yeah.
contact and stuff like that, just randomly here and there, and it just kind of it worked out. I sent them my stuff, and they, the videos and the experience that I had, and and they it worked out, and it was really nice. It was it was just one of those things where they're connecting dots and stuff like that, and campaigning for it behind the scenes and stuff like that, and it worked out.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
fuck.
their live shows are legendary for pulsating beats, debauchery, and over-the-top theatrics.
Fuck
What are
yeah, they
some of the
are.
craziest things you've seen while performing with them?
Craziest things I've seen performing. Well, that's it's it's kind of like Praga Con encourages performance art,
Yeah.
so that's always kind of a he encourages that like not having the same show every night, and it's something that it's another note that I kind of put there.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing? I mean, there's definitely crazy stuff that just happens from town to city to city.
Yeah.
I know that in terms of like performing and stuff like that, there's any number of things that can happen. Crazy stuff. If you're talking about, I don't even know if it's really, something you want to talk about on an interview or something. I just, it just,
Okay.
stuff happens and stuff like that. It's just,
Well, yeah, no, some of the weirder, more rock star oriented stuff, it is fine here, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And uh,
Yeah.
How is
they
Praga
put on a
doing?
hell of a show.
Have you
It,
talked to PragaCon in a while?
How is what?
PragaCon? Have you talked
yeah,
to
how's
Maurice?
Praga?
Of course, sure. Yeah. I mean, well, and then they did Praga did the opening set on the last tour, and that was I guess, their final tour in the U.S. So they were doing
Mhm.
stuff like Mortal Kombat, Breakfast in Vegas. They were doing Power of the Flowers, some very good songs. It was very cool to see that.
That's
Uh,
fucking
they, uh,
awesome.
I was impressed by there's a lot of endurance there. There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on there. You got to come out and do one set, and you come out and do another set.
Yeah, no, he's fucking beast, man.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, now, do you find that when you're working with a band like that, it's the scene is different from the stage to the bus, or have you still got a whole bunch of, like Ministry, they were just insane, and sometimes the bus could be even more insane than the stage. How about for Lords of Acid?
Well, I think that largely, like, I think there's definitely nights where the stage comes back to the bus, and we hang out for a while. We're a lot of individuals who really enjoy life. We love life, and we're
That's
having a good
fucking
time.
awesome. Yeah,
So the other thing to keep in mind is once you've had enough of the day, you can always hop in your bunk and throw in some earplugs and and tune out if that's what if you want to
yeah,
do. I think it's pretty largely it's our home. The bus is our home and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
yeah, we definitely there's good camaraderie on the tour. We
Well,
had
that's
Carla
fucking
Harvey
awesome.
out on the tour. She was a complete smash hit on the tour.
Yeah,
The entire lineup was a total stellar lineup there. Everybody had a lot of this is my fourth. Galen and myself have done 4 tours now with Lords of Acid. Creighton had done 2, so we were all pretty familiar with everything, and we've all known each other for a long time. Carla was the new X Factor, and she was just unbelievably professional, and she kicked ass every single night. We were always impressed, and she was ready. She came out with her A game every single night, and it was a nice group effort, and we're looking forward to getting back out there next year. So,
right on. Now you are the bass player for a project called Taipan, a metal supergroup with guest artists from Megadeth, Warbringer, Exodus, Ministry, just to name a few. Do the guests hold up to their reputations that precede them musically?
So Taipan was I did that tour in 2019. They did an European tour, an independent European tour, and I did the tour with them. And as far as some of the stuff with the guests and stuff like that, I'm not as familiar with the actual recording process. That would have to be something that would have to be asked of the. I think the vocalist was the one that kind of it's his band, and he kind of set all that up. And I knew some of the guests, and I knew some of the people that were involved, but that was a very quick experience. And then
there's some big names on there.
And by the way, you're talking about rock and roll and crazy stories.
Oh yeah,
there's some very crazy stories. I just can't talk about them publicly. But I could sit there. We could have a really unique, never heard before, totally insane 10-minute story about getting home from that tour.
Oh my God.
Because it was absolute insanity on so many different levels. I can say
next time you're in Seattle, we'll have a powwow. All right.
Yeah, sure. And we spoke about we posted about it. We got robbed in Spain right at the tail end of the tour, and it kind of set off. We got robbed.
Holy shit.
Those guys were beach guys, and and I'm not a beach guy. I'm a upper Midwest. I'm just not that kind of guy. But they wanted to go down to the beach one last time in Spain. I mean, who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
But we ended up getting robbed, and the window got smashed, and so we were supposed to play a show that night. Show was canceled because we got all of our stuff stolen, except for our gear somehow. Instead of going to our flight to fly to the Holland for a festival, we had to drive to Barcelona because everybody got their passport stolen except for me, because I carried my passport everywhere I went. Now, while we drove there to Barcelona, there's no window in the van. We drove to the Barcelona. We're supposed to turn the van in. You got to keep in mind, we're supposed to turn this van in. We don't turn the van in. Instead we drive like 4 hours, 5 hours up the road to Barcelona so that we can go to the U.S. Embassy and these guys can get their passports and get the hell out of the country on the flight from Holland. And I'm saying that wrong. Is that's the Netherlands, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after, and I remember this because while they were in the embassy, I drove the van around to look for something to do. And I swear I could not, I know how to drive. I'm a very good driver. I drive, all over the place, all over the country and stuff like that. But I could not figure out how to get to the left lane to get off this fucking road that I was on. It was totally crazy. I couldn't figure out because everything's a little different. You know what I'm saying? The traffic stuff is just a little bit different. You want to make sure that you're not screwing anything up. And I was using my GPS and trying to figure out how to get back to the embassy area. In any case, when a few hours go by and I did finally figure out how to get back, but that was a whole thing there for a while. I was looking in the rearview mirror. I'm like, I can't get over. I cannot figure this out. I don't know. I think I'm stuck just going south for forever. And anyways, I make it back to the embassy. They get their passports, and then we have to spend, instead of taking a flight to the Netherlands, we had to drive this van that was not supposed to be getting driven. It was supposed to be dropped off the day after the show, and we drove it to the Netherlands. I don't even know what happened to that van. But we made it to the festival with literally no sleep. It was raining. There's a broken window, and I was doing some of the driving. It was absolute nuts,
wow.
and that's just 1/4 of that journey home. There's other stuff I could talk about it off the air. It's really shit you've never heard before. It's
That's
very good. In any
that's
case,
where relationships are solidified too between bandmates, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
well, maybe, but anyways, yeah. So that's 25% of the journey home, because you got to think about it, from Spain to
Yeah.
Netherlands to
Damn.
LA on the flight, and then a drive to Phoenix, and then I had to go home to Ohio, and I drove on this tour because right, that was my fucking journey home, and I'm telling you, I took a lot of crap for that. And I was like, I did it. I survived that.
No, right
Think
on.
about it. Think about this for a minute. Southern Spain, all the way to the Netherlands,
Jesus.
fly to LA, drive to Phoenix, drive to Ohio. That's how far I had to go to get home right after we got robbed.
Damn, dude.
It's totally insane. And the rest of the journey I can't talk about on the line. It's a good one though. We'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll definitely, we can definitely talk about it off the record and stuff like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
So you're also the touring bassist for the 80s legacy act Pretty Boy Floyd.
Pretty Boy Floyd, yes.
How did you get hooked up with these guys?
Well, so the social stuff is, I have a lot of industry people on my friends list, and I think I have a system that I use where I reach out to everybody at least once a year on a very special day. And this particular year, I happened to reach out to Steve, and I said, "Hey, buddy, happy birthday! How's everything going?" And he's like, "Hey, it's going good. What's your schedule looking like?" And he asked me, and I said, "It's kind of still kind of post-pandemic, kind of picking up. We haven't got any confirmation on Lords." And we just started talking from there. And within about 4 months, I got invited out to do some shows. And it started there, and it's been an on and off thing. I do some shows, and then, it's, in this business, you have to, have a pretty good understanding of reality. These guys, it's their business for 40 years, whatever it is. They can play with whoever they want, and that's their decision, and they can do whatever is best for them, whatever they feel that, is best for them. So it's, I get called out for some shows, and then, I missed a few shows, and now I'm back out there doing some shows, and we went to Europe. I just got back from Europe not even a week ago. 1 week ago today, I was in Norway for a tour finale. And that was fantastic. It was a great experience. But anyways, yeah, we went over there for 3 weeks, and we got a few more shows lining up for the rest of the year. Pretty Boy Floyd is, I think we're going back out like for 10 days in October, hitting Florida, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, some good shows there. And then I think we're doing like a whiskey show in LA at the end of the year, a couple other things. I think we're going to Mexico City.
Oh, right on
Halloween night.
Oh,
so
awesome.
day of the that should be a lot of fun. I haven't actually played Mexico City somehow, and so this is a great. This will be fantastic. As far as the whiskey show, I am really excited about that one too, because the only other time I played whiskey, because Lords plays bigger locations than whiskey, the last one was with Doyle. So I played the whiskey with Doyle, and Danzig was there, and he's watching the show. So we'll be playing it in December. Yeah,
that is wild. Yeah.
80s metal seems to be something that really resonates with you. What was your first metal show?
My first metal show. That's a good question. My first metal show was Iron Maiden on the Power Slave tour.
Wow.
That was, I was like, my head exploded. It was awesome.
I would imagine. Yeah.
That was my first metal show. It was fantastic. Yep. It's a great introduction to metal. That was the whole Power Slave theatrical experience with all the Egyptian stage show. It's weird.
I used to draw what is Eddie like crazy when I was in high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the yeah, he's very it's like a comic book stuff,
Yeah.
big on comic books. But what I was going to
Yeah.
say was is that the I for some reason, Iron Maiden was a huge influence. Like in the early, I was like learning Iron Maiden songs on bass, and stuff like that. But for some reason, I didn't see them again until 2022. And I remember going and seeing, a friend of mine in Chicago invited me out to the show, and I was like, hell yeah, I've been seeing them since I was a kid. This is great.
Yeah.
They're a huge, huge, huge influence on me. One of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
But I never really got a chance to go see them again. I've always been more partial to club shows than big outdoor, big arena stuff.
Yeah.
But the spectacle was incredible. These guys had a different backdrop for every song, and I was joking with my friend. I'm like, every song they would change the back. Oh my god, there's another $40,000 backdrop. This is amazing. There's another one. I was like, and then
Yeah.
they had Aces High. Of course, you got to have an actual plane hanging from the ceiling while you're doing the song Aces High. It was so cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bringing memories of Spinal Tap.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God. So you're endorsed by a number of cool companies. Orange Amplifiers, holy shit. As mentioned in the intro, Schecter Guitars and our friend Michael Saravello, or Volo, and the very cool Coffin Case. Can you please tell us about these relationships?
Yeah, they've been really good. In between some of the touring that I was doing pre-pandemic, I would go out to the NAMM convention. I have not been out there since post-pandemic. I'm hoping to make it there January. It's just I kind of call it one of those things where all the wizards go out there in January, and we're all trading wizard spells, and then we go out there for the rest of the year and we tour.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's what NAMM is,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of fun to see people that I don't get a chance to see because I've largely been traveling since April.
How
Hello?
many guitars do you have and basses do you have?
So
And are they all in a coffin case?
it fluctuates, to be honest. They actually, one of the other sponsors that I have is Reunion Blues. Um,
Okay.
Reunion Blues does these double gig bags, and are you there?
Yep.
Okay, they're incredibly helpful for like the European travel because I end up using I've used the second side for the second bass as an extra cargo and stuff like that. They're very helpful. They're incredible. By the way, the Reunion Blues gig bags, I got to say this, I highly recommend them just simply because they are so well insulated. I've been outdoors in super, colder environments earlier in the spring. I've done festivals over the summer, very warm, and I've never had any problem with my intonation. These things are incredibly well made, very well insulated. That's Reunion Blues.
Excellent.
Yeah, Pig Hog cables. I use Digitech pedals. Schecter is definitely what I've been using for basses. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Stepping out of the music world, you have film credits too, now thanks to COVID?
It is thanks to COVID. There is a story behind that. When all the touring got canceled, I got an invite. Well, right before it, I got an invite to do the Clown Motel franchise with they said, can we get a song from your band Beauty and the Suffering? I said, yeah. And I said, hey, what about this? We can come out and do a performance for you. I can put my band together and we can jump out there and do a performance. And they thought that was a great idea.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
In the first Clown Motel movie, we did the bachelorette party scene, which is a big scene at the beginning where you kind of get introduced to the girls that are going out to the Clown Motel, and then everything goes very badly for everybody. But before that we're kind of in the first act. Now, when I went to the premiere, I said, hey, I got this great idea for the second film. What if we kick off the film? There's an idea here that I have. What if they're looking for me because I might have been one of the last guys that saw the girls. And they really liked the idea, and they brought me out. And I got invited to be a cast member for the film. And it was, I was at that point, I'm like, well, wait a minute, what? I don't know. I've done this before. I'm not an actor by any means,
Yeah.
but I learned very, very quickly. I kind of took a look around. I did a lot of improv, and I changed some scenes. I wrote some lines. I came up with some stuff that was very natural for my personality and my sense of humor.
Yeah.
And they loved it, and it worked really well in that movie. And it kind of snowballed from there. So from the performance, the band performance, to now, I think there's like 25 films that I've been a part of and contributed to, in cameos, small support roles, and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. I'm constantly looking for new projects, and I'm working on a couple others. There's a lot of independent films, so the deadlines and the release dates are still kind of in flux. They're still incoming. I don't have, I think maybe a third of the films have probably been released and are available on DVD.
Okay.
Uh,
Any roles we may be familiar with?
well, so there's a couple on Tubi, there's a couple on Amazon, there's a few I could definitely point to. I think the first Clown Motel is definitely out there on the Amazon and Tubi and Roku. There's another guy that I worked with who did. We worked together on the Lords of Acid video "Hell Does Exist," and that really blossomed into. I think we've done 7 films together. But the one that I believe is streaming on Tubi is called Big Bad CGI Monsters.
Okay.
It sounds as crazy as the title sounds. The plot synopsis is one of the most brilliant things I've ever read. It's so good. And then the Macabre is another one. It's on, I believe, Amazon. It's a kind of a horror anthology, kind of like a live action creep show. Anthologies. I'm big on anthologies. I love horror anthologies. I love them. And so I was in the wraparound in that one, which means I was in the in between scene that ran through the entire movie as opposed to the different segments.
Oh, okay.
There's definitely more, and there's definitely more available, and I'll know more as we go. One of the big ones I'm working on right now is the Jack-o'-lantern massacre. I'm Jack. I get to
sweet.
I get to go and slash everybody up. So that's a lot of,
dude, awesome.
yeah, Jack-o'-lantern massacre. We're doing a lot of promo, like media stuff, to promote the movie and get some generate some interest there before we get into some filming next month and into next year. So,
well, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, man, you've got a full docket usually. From what I've seen, you are busy 24 hours a day. That's that's badass though, man. You're making the leap into the film world. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
You said you're not an actor. You've not done any of this before.
So what I kind of feel like I'm doing is I feel like I'm a very when I'm around the house, I constantly segueing into different characters and just kind of improvising. Yeah. And I think some of that works for me on the film stuff. In fact, I think I can be, if I'm being honest here, I think I'm not as good at reading like lines, and they have to feel natural to my person. So I ask, I have to ask, I have to talk with the director and people who are involved with the producers and stuff like that. I say, are you okay if I shift a couple lines around? Because I feel like this might be a little more natural to say it like a certain way. Yeah. And it seems like so far I've been given a good amount of flexibility on that kind of stuff. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have conversations with the crazy people in my head all the time. And
sure.
I totally get it. So now a question we ask, or I ask all of our guests: what is your first memory of art having a profound effect on you?
First memory of art having a profound effect on me. Boy, that's a good one. There's definitely artists that have had. I mean, you're probably talking about going back to when I was a kid, jamming to an album with a tennis racket kind of stuff.
It could be anything, as long as it was creative and it hit you in the gut and kind of pulled you into where you are now. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I even back in the day when I was like, 8 or 9 years old, we had, I would sit there and, hop on a dictaphone and and hum out music and come up with arrangements and stuff like that, going back that far. So that kind of chaos math has been with me for the entire time. If you're talking, I can't think of a specific thing, but it's been there. I've It's just something that the rhythm of that whole, without no pun intended, the whole vibe of music and performance has always been a part. It's been like something that felt very just natural. It just felt very natural. So I'd have to think about that. In 3 days from now, I'll probably think of something that was the moment. But
Sometimes it is a grenade. It comes out, it blows up a little bit later, but
sure,
that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine. I mean, the sort of the reason I asked that is sort of just to get people back into their heads and taking it back to where it first ignited the first spark kind
And
of.
that's a very good question, and I think it's a legitimate question. And when you're talking about how far back, you're talking about when I was anywhere 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and I knew where I could already feel out.
It's
Even back
good,
at
isn't
that
it?
time period, I still had great tonal memory just naturally. That's what I was talking about earlier about the just having a natural ability to recall tones and
Yeah.
understand the language of song arranging and how progressions work. And then when I finally grabbed a guitar and when I was like 12 or something, I was even then I hadn't taken any lessons. I picked up the guitar and I was playing single note riffs to the riffs that I was hearing. I was figuring out the tones of where they were attached to, and then uh,
Okay.
that's what I recall as far as a profound moment. I'm still thinking about what that might be. Hotel California when I was
Oh,
3 years old on a vacation with my parents, driving through a rainy highway in Florida or something. Yeah,
oh
sure,
yeah.
that might be it
Oh,
right there. I don't.
did you grow up in Florida?
No, no. I think I just went vacation with parents. I remember
Ah,
that vacation though, and I never that song always. That was definitely one of those songs. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
that's
for
so
sure.
that I love that solo, that whole weird thing where he says, "Now you can't leave," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? What does that even mean?" I was a kid. I didn't know what it meant, but it sounded
Oh
pretty
my God.
sinister.
Yeah, no, it did. It absolutely did. That one got in my head a lot too back in the
Yeah,
day. I really, for sure. Yeah, damn, dude, that's awesome.
yeah. It's a great question.
Do
Thank
you have
you.
any advice for the younger set wanting to break into the world of art and music?
Well, the music industry, is what it is. The internet uh, definitely destroyed a lot of industries, and the music stuff is definitely much more complicated and difficult in some ways. But then also, there's also a lot more accessibility with like a studio. We all are able to get Pro Tools or something, and also create.
Yeah,
I like I mentioned earlier, it's really critical if you want your child to get into some kind of music. I would what drums and make sure that they have rhythm is
hmm,
incredibly important because if you have no rhythm, then you can't play. And number two, if you want to advance further than that, buy them a Simon Says and just sit there with them for 10 minutes a night and let
yeah,
them see how they do on tonal recall because that's incredibly important because that's what allows guys to jump from band to band. I know that
yeah,
there's a very misguided stigma about hired guns or something like that. Like somehow there's no
yeah,
real contribution, but it's a total. Let me be very clear here. That's total. It's a really trashy way of looking at hired guns because hired guns do stuff that most artists who are established cannot do.
yeah,
We learn songs very quickly, no questions asked. We show up, we know all the material, and not
yeah,
very many people can do that.
yeah.
The speed
Oh,
at
it's
which you can
impressive
do
as
it,
hell, man. It
the
really is.
speed, right, correct. The speed at which you can do it matters. And, you have to be ready for anything. That whole ready for anything is real.
Yeah,
Steve is a great example. Steve Summers from Pretty Boy Floyd, he'll call off
yeah,
songs, whatever order he'll call them off. And we got to be ready for him.
yeah.
And some of them
That must
are
be a
songs
trip,
that
dude.
we definitely haven't rehearsed. We didn't even know we were playing that this month, and there it is. and we have to represent properly. You know, this is not just the band's reputation, it's our reputation, and we want to
Yeah.
make sure that we cover this stuff properly, appropriately, and at the level and at
Well,
the
when you've
energy
got somebody
level.
keeping you on your toes like that, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's fucking
I do
awesome.
too. I really do. You know, it comes from a lot of experience working with cover bands.
Mhm.
You know, you're covered. They crowd calls out the song, and you play what they want to hear.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
No,
you can make
that's always blown my mind. The
yeah,
ability for somebody to, oh, no, you got anything you want me to play? Oh, okay. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm
right.
like, holy shit.
We call it like an audible. You know, it's an
Yeah.
audible. You call the audible, and you got to play. You know, what is it? Born to be Wild. They want to
Yeah.
hear Born to be Wild, so you
Yeah.
know you do the thing.
Now we're gonna move into Get It on the Good Foot. It's like
Right.
it's like holy shit. Oh, we're gonna bounce into James Brown here. Okay, good. Yeah. That's wild, man. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Dude. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about today or promote or anything?
If anybody wants to reach out, I'm really, you know, I'm always looking. You know, the whole, you know, social friends. I'm pretty inclusive. I'm pretty welcoming for everybody. I'm
Yeah.
on social. DieTrich Thrall, DieTrich Thrall, on Facebook, on you know, Instagram. Excuse
Instagram.
me. Instagram is actually, I think Instagram is BIT Suffering, and what is it?
Okay.
TikTok and all the usual stuff, Twitter, stuff like that.
All
Whatever
those are
you're on.
linked through your Facebook page, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Facebook is
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Dude, thank you so much for
of
being here.
course.
And Levi sends his love. And we're very sorry he wasn't able to be here.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I miss Levi. I
Yeah,
remember Levi back in the day in Chicago. I ran into him a few times. He was involved also with Marazine, the underground band that I
yeah,
was working with up there. We
yeah,
have a history there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my friend. I
thank
thank you
you.
so much
Definitely,
for being here,
definitely.
for sharing your time, for sharing the stories and everything. This has been fucking wonderful.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fantastic.
Vertebrates, invertebrates, and various crustaceans out there. Go ahead and follow DieTrich on all the socials. You're sure to be able to see many, many, many more adventures. This guy is busy, busy, busy. So Facebook, Instagram, and all the other ones. Also, check out his Bandcamp. He's got some projects there as well, and uh, and look for him on the road. The guy puts on a hell of a show. Absolutely a hell of a show. And also keep your eyes on the big screen and the smaller screen. So, kiddies. This episode is dedicated, as always, to our friend Jason Lupo. May he rest in peace. We're seeing cracks in the facade now. Our pressure is working. We do have a voice when we collectively use it. It speaks volumes that gods can hear. Keep that up. We are truly all in this together. Please don't keep quiet if you need a hand. You are loved, you are needed, and you are more important than you may know. Love, hugs, and love, hugs, and belly rubs, everybody. Cheers.